got a report from COP 2089,442, and we're going to be talking about CO2 and the emissions that are coming off from extramarital affairs. There's a lot of CO2, apparently a lot of friction that can come off when you're doing the horizontal mamba, and a lot of the CO2 that's getting caused, a lot of it's coming from Dubai, is allegedly because of Hamza Yusuf. Now being changed his name to how you doing, Stevie? And now changing his name from Hamza Yusuf to Hamza Useless to Hamas Hamza, and Hamas Useless, and now Hamza bin Shaggin, apparently, or just apparently in Glasgow he's just called Shagger now. These are all allegations that this is actually happening when he's in Dubai for COP 2024, or even before that. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? Oh my goodness. So I've came prepared. Apparently Hamza swore, hi Bob, how you doing? Swore on the Quran when he got elected in here. And whether it's the Quran or the Hadith, I don't really care. But apparently under Sharia, which is their law, it's the copper behind you, I know, it's police state now. Hamza has to make himself available to Sharia law, because in the UK we have to help and comply and fit in with other people's beliefs and systems and laws and everything else. So Hamza has now, in this building, in this really NCP car park, that Hamza has now sworn on the Quran. And apparently, allegedly, the punishment for swearing or having extramarital affairs, especially for the women in Islam, is 100 lashes and then stoned to death. But because obviously the Quran is deeply misogynistic, it doesn't affect women. So it's only, it doesn't affect men, it only affects women. Apparently, I think, if I can remember off the top of the head, it's been a wee while since I read it. It wasn't worth reading twice. The fact is that the punishment in Islam for infidelity is 100 lashes. I don't know if the police are going to do that though, but 100 lashes and being stoned to death, which is the punishment. So apparently the police had gone to the husband of Unum, whatever her name is, and had caused an incident. There was an incident there. Her family came up, tried to quieten the guy down because he was going to say that Hamza and Unum had an affair. There's some interesting wee terms that Hamza's on the internet saying, "Oh, you're very beautiful" at his wedding, and "Oh, the groom's not bad either." In a jokey sort of way. It doesn't make it very jokey now, especially with all these facts coming out. I had to watch the advert for this. If we are talking about fairy stories and Peter Pan, well, apparently it's not fairy stories. It's in the paper that the police were called to the residence of the former husband of Unum, who was allegedly now separated. And apparently he's fired in Hamza, allegedly, as the protagonist in the affair and the breakup of the marriage. Gotcha can. What are you saying? Gotcha pan. So, apparently, this is all above board now. Hamza's gone to COP 20 with young Mary. I don't know what she was doing there. I don't know what Hamza's wife, that apparently he's had the affair against, was doing in Turkey as a Dundee councillor. I don't know what the relevance of her being in Turkey was. And then obviously her husband, where the devolution of powers for international relationships have not been devolved to this Parliament. So it has to all go through the Foreign Office. So apparently, this is a thing now. So apparently, this is all coming out, and he's getting called Shagger, and he's going to have scooters for dudes. So he's getting called Shagger in Glasgow, and but when he's been away to Dubai, the Emiratis have put wee name tags on them and called him Hamza bin Shaggin. And apparently that is his new Arabic name, which is quite probably relevant. And then he comes back and has a big harem of women round him, a bit like when he said, "Where are all the men to the Ukrainian women?" Okay, Hamza, keep your pants on. And apparently he had a big harem once he came back from Dubai, of women all standing round him. So, I mean, really, I think the stories are going to come out, but it looks like from the point of view of Hamza that he's not going to last much longer. I think today there's a meeting down in London with the MPs. Obviously, he hasn't won a council seat since he got elected as leader. So they're all absolutely petrified that they're going to lose their jobs, which is a strong possibility that everybody's going to get tin-tacked. Hamza is not obviously doing anything with the general public. With individual ladies, yes, he's probably doing quite well. But with the general public, not so good. So this is a big situation for Hamza. So it looks like people being a betting man, that you would put money on Hamza not actually being the El Presidente past this week. It looks like he's going to be told to step down. But I think there's bigger problems ahead, because under the Quran there's the 100 lashes. 100 lashes. And then there's a guy over there selling designer stones for the stoning, so you can actually now buy tributary Sharia compliant stones for the stoning, because obviously we've got to fit into Sharia law now, and apparently instead of going to the football with your mates on Saturday, we'll get a good stoning, and not in the sort of sense in the everybody's going to get stoned. Oh, there's the MPs there. Elliot, hi there. How are you doing, sir? Are you well? Not too bad, thanks. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? What's your thoughts on, do you think Hamza's going to be still the MSP or the leader after today?
After today? What's happening today in particular?
Well, there is going to be the meeting down in London with all the MSPs, and apparently because he hasn't won a council seat, and since he hasn't won a council seat.
You'd have to ask the SNP about
you
that.
Think the thing is off?
All the best.
Thanks very much. Thanks. They're all very talkative. These MPs. They don't feel that they've got any responsibility to the alternative journalists. If it's not from the MSN, they're not interested, because obviously we ask them proper questions, which you don't get otherwise. So, Hamza is now Hamza's for the high jump. Hamza is now kaput. He's absolutely finished. So he hasn't won a council seat since he got elected, even the ones that were run by the SNP. So we've got a countdown for the very short tenure in politics or leadership of Hamza Yusuf. So we've gone from Nicola Sturgeon, which I actually feel a wee bit sorry for Hamza, because obviously a lot of the baggage from Nicola Sturgeon's period as the leader has actually transferred on to him. So he's almost been made the fall guy for the SNP for Nicola Sturgeon's immensely bad tenure as the First Minister. So she's been a disaster. Another £98,000, I think electric powered BMW is now been found at her home. I wonder where that £600,000 has gone. 30 months it's taken, and there's been no firm charges, or there's not been anything that's actually been sent to the Procurator Fiscal. No charges been made. So there's been nothing that's actually concrete come of this. Oh, come on. So what else has been happening? Oh, so we've now this has just been a total disaster, and now we've got Alex Salmond suing them. Alex Salmond is now bringing forward his case. I told you this last time. That I think he's going to win it. The procedures that were put in place by the SNP, I told you it was a set-up before it was actually done. I said it was going to be a set-up. I was correct about that as well. And the whole thing is absolutely collapsed. From the SNP's point of view, not from Alex Salmond's point of view. From Alex Salmond's point of view, the actual underlying charges will have been seen to be fabricated. I don't think he's actually suing the SNP, which I think he should, or sue individuals on an individual basis. But the people who made the allegations, who've been found not to not to be successful, have still had their anonymity protected. You shouldn't be having your anonymity protected if you brought charges and these have been unsuccessful. How would you then be able, why should you, as then the potentially accused, then be protected under law with your anonymity if you was to counter-sue or counter-criminally charge these individuals for making false allegations? Yet because they brought forward the false allegations in the first place, their anonymity has been protected. That cannot stand as a law. That is completely disproportionate from any sort of accountability. So you can't have people who have brought forward false allegations and then have their identity protected. We must find out who these individuals were now. Or Alex could bring counter charges against individuals that this was not what was alleged, and then their anonymity, they shouldn't hold their anonymity anymore by going to the police. And the police should charge people that make false allegations. People who have lied and it's at a later date it's been seen to be a lie, these people need to go to jail for a significant period of time. That'll crack the whole conspiracy. And again, Nicola Sturgeon could be looking at jail time for that as well. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that she's been able to stay in her position with all the stuff that's come out. If she didn't have a brass neck, she would have no neck at all. Oh, come on, come on. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So there's been allegations that Anoon has been put in the position now because of backhanders. Apparently there's been allegations of backhanders to get people into the positions under Nicola Sturgeon within individual councils, and that these councils, people have been bought off or are being bought off and given promises that once these individuals are put in power, that they will, instead of having a democratic race, that these people have been bought off, and that's how Anoom got into her position, especially now that if there's been an affair with Hamza, which is haram in Islam, although he swore on the Quran. And we've got Big Mo Headscarf, the 7-foot paedophile apologist down in London. It was on the same podcast with Georgie Porgy Galloway. I don't know what George is saying about what's happened at the Celtic Boys Club, but we've got certainly two Celtic supporters who seem to be keeping what's happened there very quiet. Obviously, Hamza comes from a background where child rape is acceptable, but and obviously within the left there's been paedophiles, and it's going through the universities, paedophile apologists and acceptance is like they're trying to change it to minor attracted people that have been through the left and Marxist agenda that they're trying to bring in the sexualisation of children, and that's been done deliberately just now to your children through the education system that's now been ideologically driven and not practically driven through their commitment to excellence, which is falling us down the Pisa tables like a stone down a hill. Oh, come on, come on, come on. You can't be doing this. These people cannot be voted for. So what's her face? What's her name? Who was got second place to Humza. Again, an orchestration of votes. The votes within the elected Humza were sort of, we didn't really know how many people were in the SNP, and these votes weren't confirmed by an outside source, and that was sort of gerrymandered to get Humza in place, and Humza's been the fall guy for Nicola Sturgeon, doing all her shenanigans, all her corruption within the SNP. Man, come on. Come on. This is absolutely bonkers. So, what else have we got? What's her name? I can picture her. Kate Forbes. Kate Forbes looks like she's going to take over. So Kate Forbes looks like now that she is going to be appointed. Now, whether Kate Forbes is going to be any good or not is questionable. I don't know if Kate Forbes is going to be that great. I don't know, apart from being a wee free and slightly socially conservative, that doesn't really mean anything from the point of view of being elected to do something. You have to have an understanding of politics to a greater extent, or some sort of political ideology. If you tell me, apart from independence, what Kate Forbes actually stands for, I'm none the wiser. I do not know what Kate Forbes' underlying ideology is. I mean, we've seen that the SNP are a wokey wefter party. On the whole, is she just going to be another version of wokey wefterism? What's she going to be? What's her main policies, or the things that she's going to do? I never saw her debate against Humza, but I don't know what ideological strain or that she actually comes from, apart from being slightly socially conservative, potentially because she's a wee free. But I don't know what that. I don't really know what the ins and outs of being a wee free is. I don't know if it's an extreme form of Presbyterianism. I'm not quite sure. But it's certainly probably not a classical liberal or a libertarian liberal. And these people increasingly are authoritarian in their approach to both governance and a centralisation of power. So there isn't a policy division on the underlying political parties. There isn't a policy division. There isn't a different type of political policy platform other than the unionist nationalists. And I'll come on to that in a wee bit. I'll do another 10 minutes of another wee podcast here that will separate it. And I'll come on and talk a wee bit about what they're doing as well, because there, even from very good political commentators, there seems to be not really an understanding of political science or the underlying policy. And I'm going to not chastise, but slightly criticise some of my fellow podcasters who I support and respect and subscribe to their channels. It's not, I'm not on board with a lot of what they say, but I think there has to be a bit of clarity on what it is that we're actually talking about, because if you've not got the clarity on the underlying subjects, then you're going to make mistakes on a regular basis on what you're actually discussing. So apparently, under Sharia law, which Humza Yusuf, Sharia, it's just Sharia is the law. So under Sharia, Humza Yusuf, if it's found that he's had an affair, the punishment is, because he believes in equality, it's only really for the women, is 100 lashes and being stoned to death. And I think we should accommodate his desires to have Sharia in Scotland. So I brought the stuff. Thanks very much, guys. Love my baby gorillas.